Let's take it home. Fox Bet has the over-under on Tom Brady interceptions next year in Tampa at 10.5, 10.5. So Shannon Sharp, predict Tom Brady's touchdown passes and interceptions next season.
Well, Skip, the thing is, what people don't realize is that Bruce Arians, Skip, when he's been the head coach of the offensive coordinator, his quarterback normally finished in the top 10 in interceptions. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions. Jameis Winston, we know, led the league in interceptions. Carson Palmer 1 year was number 2. Andrew Luck was number 2. The only guy that didn't have a high interception rate was one Ben Roethlisberger, but they were a Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker running team. So, Skip, you know what? I'm going to be generous. I like you, and I don't want to end on a bad note. I'm going to say it'll be 29-14. 29 touchdowns, 14 INTs.
Only 29 touchdown passes for the GOAT?
What you mean only 29?
Offense? Are you kidding me? 29? Okay, so he had 24 touchdowns last year to 8 interceptions. But in 2007 with Randy Moss, he had 50 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. So Lamar Jackson obviously led the NFL last year in touchdown passes at 36. Jameis had 33. Okay. So I say if you put Tom Brady in this offense with Bruce Arians, Tom Moore supervising, and you give him those weapons, all 4 of them better than any weapon he had last year in New England, I say he throws 40 touchdown passes, but I'll give you higher interceptions. Over-under is 10.5. I'll go to 11. So I'm going to go 40 touchdown passes, leading the NFL easily next year for Tom Brady to only 11 interceptions. Your response?
So in the process of him leading the league, did Patrick Mahomes retire? Because that's the only way Brady's ever going to lead the NFL in touchdowns again, which is not going to happen. But I can assure you, if he throws 30 interceptions, he'll throw more than 15. If he throws 30 touchdowns, he will throw more than 15 interceptions. Because, Skip, that offense is too high risk for the reward to be that low. So he's going to throw 15 or more interceptions with 30 or more touchdowns.
Tom Brady will throw more touchdown passes next year than Patrick Mahomes. You can book that.
5 cases. 5 cases.
5 cases? I'll go 3 just to be nice to you.
That would be nice. Okay.
That's enough. We'll pick this up tomorrow because unfortunately we are out of time and I had so much more to say. I want to thank Michael Vader for being so technically supportive of me here up in my loft in my house. And I want to thank Ernestine and Hazel for letting me use their house. Remember, we're on 10 to noon tomorrow here on Fox Sports 1. Please stay tuned for Colin. Please stay safe. And please, above all, stay home. Buckle up for this one. The Athletic has chosen the best player ever to wear each number in the National Football League from 00 all the way up to 99. And of note, my man Shannon Sharp at least was given honorable mention on number 84, which obviously was won by Randy Moss. But still, that's pretty great for my man Shannon Sharp. He was honorable mention to Randy Moss. Pretty great. Way to go, Shannon Sharp. But beyond that, the number that caught my eye was number 81, because the player chosen by The Athletic as the best ever to wear number 81 was Terrell Owens, T.O., as I always called him, Team Obliterator. Shannon Sharp, do you agree that Terrell Owens was the best ever to wear 81?
Yeah. T.O., for me, T.O. is the second greatest receiver to ever play in the NFL. Skip, if you look at him through their first 9 years, now remembering Calvin Johnson, Megatron, only played 9 seasons. And through their 9 seasons, Skip, they're very familiar. T.O. went to 5 Pro Bowls, Megatron went to 6. T.O. had 4 first-team All-Pros, 3. And everything is really, really similar. They averaged, T.O. averaged 10 touchdowns, Megatron averaged 9. But then, Skip, guess what? T.O. played another 6 years, over 400 catches, over 6,000 yards, 58 touchdowns, first-team All-Pro. Skip, I mean, when you factor in the longevity and you factor in the productivity, see, Skip, it's just, for me, it's just not good enough that you play a long time. Because, Skip, if I collect cans for a number of years, I will have a bunch of cans. T.O. was productive. T.O. went to Buffalo. He was better than Peerless Price. He went to Cincinnati. Ocho Cinco was still there. He was their best receiver. He went to Dallas. He was their best receiver. Ted Hendricks, and Deion Sanders are the only three men that have been first-team All-Pro for three different teams. I don't really know. Look, and Megatron had an unbelievable career, but T.O. was the best 81, period.
This just makes me sick at my stomach. I'm sorry, and let me say before I unleash on this one, we've had Terrell on the show many times. I've had him on TV with me many, many times. I like him. I honestly, from my heart, from my soul, I like the guy. I enjoy having him on the show. We had him on at the Super Bowl, and he wasn't good. He was great. And I always look forward to having him on the show because we spar a little bit. He doesn't like me, and I get it. But I think he kind of respects me, and I really respect him because he was a great football player, and he played with rage and with high passion. I get that. I also was there in San Francisco when he wrecked that 49ers team, and I'm sorry, he just did. And then I was close to so many players when I was working at ESPN, ex-Eagles, who've just said he wrecked us, teams that should have won 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And then I was very close to several Dallas Cowboys who said he turned us upside down under Bill Parcells in Dallas. I don't know. And even that, I'll just forget about it's not even off the field. It's in the locker room and in the huddle and on the sidelines. But I'll forget about all that, Shannon. Look, Calvin Johnson was a freak of a beast of a rare player. We'd never seen anything like it. He was 6'5", 240 pounds, and he ran 4.35 at the combine. What? It's unheard of. It's impossible.
Yeah.
He could jump. He could catch. He was a package unlike anything Terrell ever dreamed of. What was Terrell, a 3rd-round pick? Calvin was the 2nd overall pick, and you could have made a case he should have been the 1st overall pick. And he goes to a bad team in Detroit, a team that pretty quickly was going to go 0-16, and he got stuck there. And his spirit died in Detroit, and you're right. He went Barry Sanders, and he quit early. He quit when he was 30 years of age over contract issues. It was almost like what Jim Brown did with the Cleveland Browns and Barry Sanders.
Art Modell.
There you go. And Barry just got sick of losing in a team that wouldn't do enough to surround him with the kind of players they needed to go places in the playoffs. And it was the same with Megatron. But he had a nickname, Megatron, for a reason, because nobody had ever seen anything like him. We used to have Nate Burleson, now on NFL Network and obviously on CBS. But Nate Burleson used to come to Bristol, Connecticut, where I was with First Take and ESPN. And occasionally we'd go to dinner. I think Shannon's been with me to Cava before. There's like the only place to go in Bristol, Connecticut. And every dinner I had with Nate Burleson, all I heard about were Megatron legendary stories, practice stories that he was just unguardable. And you look at the numbers of what he did, Shannon, he still holds the single season receiving record for yards, almost 2,000 yards. He still holds the single season record for 100-yard games with 11. And over his 9 seasons, he led the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns. And Terrell was putting up big numbers too. I get that. But he wasn't doing it the way this guy was doing it. And I'll never forget, October 27th of 2013, you might not remember this game, but I do because it was against my Cowboys at Detroit. Oh, Lord have mercy. He caught 14 balls for 329 yards. That seems almost like inconceivable that 14 would equal 329. And remember, it should have been the record, but I don't know how Flipper Anderson did this, but back in 1988, 89, I think it was, with the Rams, Flipper caught.
It was 89 on Sunday night.
336 yards. Yeah, 336. So 329 for Calvin against my Cowboys. And then he got to play in 2 playoff games. And do you remember the one where they got blown out in New Orleans? That's when Drew Brees and company were just riding high. And in that game, Calvin caught 12 for 211 in a playoff game. And then against my Cowboys, in the game that my Cowboys, I'll be the first to admit, stole it. It was a robbery. Calvin, they were triple teaming him in that game, and he still caught 5 for 85, which is 17 a catch. I mean, he was something so spectacular that he had a nickname, Megatron. And I'm sorry, when I think of 81, I think of Terrell for right and wrong reasons, but I think of Calvin as the essence of 81, like the beast that we'd never seen before at receiver. I think he was the most gifted receiver ever. You can have Jerry Rice or Michael Irvin or, Terrell, whoever else you want to throw in there. It's just 81 should belong